because I'm paranoid. At that time, I'm always paranoid because these are the people that I don't know if you guys heard about, where they cut people up and they put them in a suitcase. And
that was a huge story back in the day.
They cut someone up, put them in a suitcase, left in the middle of the East Broadway, was discovered in the morning.
Right.
So
there's
but they left the head out.
Right. He was, as soon as I got in the room, he was like, "Steve, let me see your phone." And I'm like, "What?"
Lucky Boys Podcast.
We end up getting a good amount from Jimmy, and we flipped them. I'm not even getting into how bad IAB almost messed up my operation.
And for those that still listening, Jimmy is one of the
Karaoke owners.
One of the primary ones that IAB zeroed in on.
Right.
Okay.
And he also sells drugs and deals with the prostitution in his karaoke's. So he uses karaoke's to push his drugs and the prostitution.
As a front,
right. Well, it's part of the business, right? Because it's like you go there, people want to get high and having a good time. He has the mommies or the waiters, whatever, selling the drugs to the customers. And then, when they get high, when the girl they go with, they want to take them home, right? And so forth and so on, and have a good time. So the other bad part I wanted to mention was, keep in mind, I'm out there by myself. Okay? So Jimmy's crew is the same crew that had the bus wars in Chinatown.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
With the FJs?
With the FJs. Because he's FJ.
Shit.
Jimmy's FJ.
Oh,
right.
shoot.
So
he's highly connected.
Yeah. So that crew.
So FJs, guys, if you're listening, it's a Fujianese.
Yeah.
It's
a province in China.
Right.
It was a poverty area, but it's actually very rich now, right? And there's
like a lot of farmlands there and
right.
villages.
Well, they I think they export steel and stuff like that too. Now, like
each province in China now they specialize in some sort of export,
right?
Whether it's jewelry, steel,
right.
or microchips or
right. So
medicine.
With all the development that's going on, they made a lot of money with the steel and stuff like that. Yeah. So the bus wars I mentioned is because these are the people that I don't know if you guys heard about, where they cut people up and they put them in a suitcase. And
that was a huge story back in the day.
They cut someone up, put them in a suitcase, left in the middle of the East Broadway, was discovered in the morning.
Right.
So
there's
they left the head out.
Right. So there's three major crews, right? One is the Fujianese and people with the bus wars and stuff like that. It's all Fujianese now. And then the other crew is like kind of like a construction company, front real estate development. Like it's.
Oh, they're not even Chinese.
No, they are.
Oh, they are.
They are.
But they're not.
They're also, I think, Fujianese, Winzonese. The real estate one is going legit. They're making a lot of money, doing construction. They're going legit. So it's kind of like they're leaving the underground, right?
So they're going with the smart money as the safe.
Right. But the karaoke's, that's still their money, and they have to stay underground to make money, right?
So many layers.
Going back to, there's three major gangs that are covering like drugs, prostitution,
and transportation.
Transportation, yes.
And that transportation usually it goes from here to Philly,
here to Boston,
Atlantic City.
Yeah, Atlantic City is a big one.
Yeah.
And then
Asians love to gamble.
Right, but that also controls the dollar vans that go from Chinatown to Flushing to Brooklyn to.
I'm terrified. I've been on those. Holy shit, man! Those are scary.
The interborough buses.
Those drivers are crazy.
They're crazy, but it's cheap, and
it's $1 to freaking to another borough.
Yeah, but that's gang control also. Yeah, major gang control. Right. So, all right. Back to my thing. So I wanted to mention that, one, keep in mind, I'm out there by myself the whole time. I know this for a fact because one time when I was meeting up with the lieutenant, as soon as I got in the room, he was like, "Steve, let me see your phone." And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Let me get your phone." I'm like, okay, here. I give him my phone. Good thing I always delete the texts because I'm paranoid. At that time, I'm always paranoid.
Yeah.
So I always delete texts and phone call log and stuff like that. Pictures, I don't put them on there, whatever. If I do have their number stored in there, it's stored under a
That's some
different
real
name.
gang shit.
Yeah, it's stored under a different name or whatever, right? So he's like, let me see your phone. He's like, unlock it. I unlock it. He goes through my pictures, goes through my call log, goes through my text messages.
So that's what your girl does, right?
Yeah, goes through my emails.
Someone who's
whatever.
suspecting something.
Yeah.
Right. So he goes through all that. Then he gives back my phone. He's like, all right, cool. And he starts talking, whatever, right? So I'm like, what the fuck was that
Your
about?
lieutenant does it?
Yeah. So I'm like, what the fuck was that about? And he's like, oh, no, man. Yo, I think we have a fucking snitch, a rat.
Did someone tip him off, or did you show your hand?
I'll tell you why. The suspense.
There's two things, Steve. Like part of it's listening, and my heart's getting broken.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's really crushing to me, right? Because it's like, holy shit, man. There's lives being lost. There's in more ways than one. Not just being dead, but people getting extorted. Right, people being used, people being raped, and just so much injustice, and there's no justice being brought forward, and that kills me, man.
And you know what?
That hurts.
You know what was the worst part of it is that they always said, "Hey, us Asians have to stick together. We're helping our community." And in the back of my head, I always wanted to say to them, are you fucking kidding me?
Oh,
You're the poison of our fucking community. You're the reason why we're held down and we're looked upon like this. Like, you are disgusting. You know what I mean? So that's why I went through with it. That gave me the strength to go through with it. Right.
And it's like so mentally and physically draining.
It's just not even all the details.
You're creating a lot of enemies, man.
Right.
You're not just going after police officers. You're going after like gangsters.
Right. Right.
And business people that have ties to very powerful people.
Mm-hmm.
That would make me go, or any normal human being, and rightfully so, a bit hesitant about how to move forward with their next steps.
Right. So,
did that cross your mind?
Yes, absolutely.
Or are you just like a glutton for excitement?
No.
I mean,
I mean, one. At that time, you have to keep in mind, I believe that Internal Affairs was going to protect me.
Okay.
Right. They weren't going to reveal that it was me.
Oh, okay.
They were going to reveal that it was Jimmy. That's why we went after Jimmy, and Jimmy's the rat and the snitch.
Oh, okay.
Right? And that's why we flipped Jimmy, so we can make him the star witness, and he could testify against
He
them.
could get all the credit for being the snitch.
Right.
Okay.
But here's the messed up part. 2 months into the investigation, 3 months into the investigation, I bump into the chief's driver who's at a karaoke. All right. And I bump into the chief's driver who's at a karaoke, and the guy was like, oh, come and have a drink, whatever. And I'm in uniform. And I'm like, no. I was outside talking to the bouncer, right? Because me and the bouncer are friends. He usually gives me tips and stuff like that, right? And, I'm talking to the bouncer, and, I'm like, no, I'm in uniform. I can't have a drink in uniform, blah, blah. You know that, And he's like, oh, yeah, you're right.
Are they trying to fuck with you there?
Yeah. Because he was like, yo, Steve, be careful. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Who says this?
The chief's driver.
The chief's driver, okay.
Yeah. He's like, be careful. He's like, the chief told me that IAB is watching you. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? So I played it off. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? IAB is watching you. You dirty as fuck. Like, he watching you. They ain't watching me.
Right.
It's like, no, seriously. Like, IAB is watching you. What happened was Conforti came for a meeting, right? And told that there is a case and involves me. And then the chief asked me, hey, what's up with this guy, Lee, whatever, from the 1-9 precinct. And then I told her that you're a good guy. It's Chief Bizzuti, right? She was the borough commander, right? So he was like, oh, I told her that you're a good guy, whatever, and so forth and so on. And so that's why she wants me to give you the warning, right? Because we found out she's involved also.
Oh, shit. A chief is involved?
Yes.
It's like, you can't trust anybody.
No. So
you can't trust anybody.
No. So towards the end of the operation, I see that her and another chief were taking free dinners, like big steak dinners or whatever and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, we got them. They're going to press charges? And then when I called them up, they're like, no, that means we passed over them. We passed them over to the ethics board. And the ethics board just gave him a slap on the wrist and said, no, you can't do it again. Then she got promoted. And then
she got promoted.
Yeah, and then she got forced out later on. Right. So
wow.
So what are the cases? I realized there's leaks, right? So they plugged that leak. And then later in operation also, another internal affairs officer that I worked with, good guy, I knew him from Brooklyn, good guy, Chinese guy also. I knew him from Brooklyn, and he gave me a heads up. He was like, yo, Steve, don't go to this karaoke, don't go to this karaoke, don't go to that karaoke. IAB's watching it. And I'm like, how the fuck, what are you talking about? Like, how do you know? And he's like, oh, because I have a friend that works in the Queen's office, and he gave me the heads up. So I don't want you to get jammed up or in trouble or whatever. Stay away from these places. So right there, I'm like, nobody's supposed to know. It's supposed to be me,
Right.
my handlers, 2 officers, was a lieutenant and a cop, right? 2 handlers, and my commanding officer. And then it supposed to go up.
Somebody's
there,
not keeping secrets.
right? From there, it goes up to the commissioner and stuff.
Okay, so basically, people that you know are warning you.
Right.
He's
But
saying
they
there's a
didn't-
leak somewhere.
Yeah, but
they
they
don't have any idea that
He's
Steve
part.
is
Yeah,
part
he's
of.
undercover.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
all right.